Let's go. How's everyone doing today? Go ahead and announce quick in the Discord. We going live. Let's go. I'm doing very, very well, my friends. Hope everyone's, been putting your money in some safe places. It's going to get really, really interesting here in the next couple weeks. Insanely interesting. There's a lot of money to be made. A lot of money to be made. We're going to get a whole bunch of stuff today, but here's the thing. Like we've said forever, I mean, we've always been looking for a black swan, but we might have an orange swan instead. It might be Donald Trump here doing this stuff. We are definitely 100% in a trade war, and it's going to get insanely crazy. The market will be insanely volatile. Now, the difference between all of you and most average Americans, which we'll get into later, none of them are going to take advantage of it, and I hope every single one of you guys do. So we'll get into some, potential plays. We'll look into a whole bunch of stuff today, but I hope everyone's doing good. This is a lot of things we need to see for things to start to get corrected. A lot of people, sorry it took a little bit longer here to start. Little man, as you guys can hear, is a little cranky today, but we got him down here. But we got a lot of good news for AMC, and let's get started. We got enough people going on here. So AMC news and GME news. Obviously, you guys heard they did the 1.3 billion offering for GameStop. I was going to talk about that, but I'm sure you've heard everybody in the world talk about that by now. So great play. The only risk for it, obviously, is the same thing I said about MicroStrategies. The difference is MicroStrategies got in at a super, super low price, and their average was way lower. So again, for Ryan, this is I love that play. Really do. It's a good play. I don't know if he bought already. I doubt it. So even if he bought a little bit, I doubt he spent the whole load. So hopefully he can take advantage of these lower prices for that as well. So good thing for them. Let's go into AMC. Dolby AMC Entertainment announces major expansion. So they're going to get a ton of upgrades going here at AMC, and this is exactly what we needed for 2026. We're going to get a lot more Dolby theaters and also IMAX theaters. They're going to expand IMAX theaters to another 80. So you're going to get 120 locations of upgrades. Some of these are amazing, and that's on top of those new 4D locations with the new 4D experience and the moving chairs, the lights, the scent, the mist, all that stuff. So there's a whole bunch of changes coming for AMC. This is all great news. Everybody wants to know where this is coming from. We don't have shares to dilute right now. So again, this is all coming out of CapEx. This is already planned in the budget, so they're going to spend money as they get it through a certain amount as it comes in through revenue, and then they'll, we'll be at a loss for that quarter from that amount. But said all this is needed to happen. This is the problem with AMC. They have the most theaters, but that's not necessarily a good thing, especially if they're not, performing. And a lot of these were just older theaters, and I brought up my Apple Valley Theater, in Minnesota many, many times. Like, dude, the location, it was the best location you could ever dream of. But the chairs were just that bad, dude. They were those hard plastic seats that you go into like a baseball stadium. And it's like, dude, you're not going to sit in those for 2.5 hours. It just needed that little upgrade to survive. Just that little upgrade to be very profitable. A lot of people that are like upset about this is exactly what you need for before you hit into 2026. 2026 is going to be an amazing year, and it keeps getting better and better and better by the day. I feel like you're now looking at an 11 billion at least. And one of the things Adam Aaron's also talking about doing, well, before we get into that, where did that go? Here you go. So Adam Aaron is talking to all of these studios. He's getting all these other theater CEOs as well to band in and talk to these studios. And this is exactly what they need to do. They need to move the theatrical window a lot wider. Right now, it's way too short. And right now, they're trying to say they want to move it to at least 45 days. And he wants this to be in effect before 2026. So if this comes into effect again before 2026, it's like that's going to be a lot more revenue coming in for 2026 as well. So hopefully this all goes through. Right now he already says 3 of the major studios have agreed. So hopefully he can get all the other ones on board here. And like I said, hopefully this gets implemented before 2026. That would be incredible. Minecraft movie is shattering records. It's up to 163 million US, 313 million globally. And here's the thing. It should have a really good second week. There was a lot of theaters that just couldn't. They were sold out. You couldn't even get in. I couldn't even get in around here. It was ridiculous. The one theater I always go to. It's like, it was. Sorry, I have a cold here. Give me a second. So, this was going to do way better than expected. And that's the thing. These are the type of movies that are going to do well, that are going to hit children, and they're going to hit an older generation that played that game as well. But with this, you're going to start to get a lot of these. So now they're making a Death Stranding video game movie, and it's going to be a live-action movie. A24 is going to fund it. So this is exactly what you're going to start seeing now. You're going to start to see a lot of video games become movies. On top of that, that Coyote vs. Acme movie that everybody tried so hard to save, well, that got bought up, and now, as you see as well, it's going to be released in 2026. More movies, more good news for us. On top of that, Last Friday is officially happening. I love those Friday movies. I mean, I don't know who didn't love them in our, my generation growing up. These movies were classics. So I mean, if they could get if they could get him back too, dude. This movie should kill it. Like I said, there's just a whole bunch of more better movies coming out. A lot of good releases. So I'm excited to see what happens for the future for 2026. It's going to be amazing. Like I said, Q3, Q4, you should still be profitable this year. So we just got to get through this last Q2. And Q2, like I said, Q2 could be a lot better than expected. So if Adam Aaron does, again, ask for shares, I highly recommend we give it to him because, again, that's going to reflect in your stock price, their ability to raise capital or not. And on top of that, he doesn't need to sell it right away. He can wait till Q4. He can wait till Q1 of next year, Q2, when it's blowing up. We have the reserves. And on top of that, you should have profitable quarters. So it's not like he needs to get rid of it right away. So I highly recommend doing that. So let's look over here, though. Let's talk about Citadel. So Citadel's we went over it in the beginning of the year. Citadel's been getting crushed all year. All year, Citadel's been getting crushed. They also had a pot shop explode for this volatility, which is all great news for us. Well, on top of that, it said Millennium and Citadel extended their losses with the volatile March. So again, in March, they lost. So they have lost for 3 straight months so far off of volatility. Well, what is the market doing right now? It's super volatile. Their pod shops are going to get fucked up again this month. And that's, again, great news for all of us. So I expect to see another headline next month. Citadel Millennium, once again, 4 straight months of losses. Their Q1 losses were exploding. So great news for all of us. But none of these guys know how to play it. But again, I'm going to show you guys what we can do, what you should be doing. Like, it's not financial advice, but it just shows you how they instantly every time can also make these generational gaps so massively. It's just ridiculous. The stock market is such a fucking scam. It's so ridiculous. But once again, I mean, you guys, I show you guys all the time. The biggest domestic terrorists, the biggest terrorists in the world are these banks. They work with everybody. Not only do they work with everybody, they fund most of them. Well, look at this. Canadian banks got busted, tied to fentanyl cartels, money laundering, and Chinese triads. TD American Bank was working with Chinese triad cartel. They got fined for all this $670 million. Again, like, this is what I'm saying. These guys, all of these people, basically, this is how they were getting a lot of the fentanyl into the U.S. as well. Here we go. So again, without these banks helping and financing, because all these banks don't care. They have no loss. At worst, think about this. This is the difference between them and us. If they do something, the individuals don't get charged. They charge the company, and then the company just signs an acceptance waiver and consent, and everyone moves on with their day. They pay a small fine, $670 million. If they paid a $670 million fine, how much did they make off it? How much ran through the United States? Probably billions and billions. Sorry, couldn't breathe there for a second. So again, everything runs through this. JP Morgan. Oh man, we don't know how all that cocaine. It's always with drugs. It's always cartel, a bank, and drugs. JP Morgan. I don't know how 20 tons of cocaine it got on my boat. Nobody noticed. 20 tons. It equaled $1.7 billion worth of cocaine that they purchased. In the United States, it was probably worth like, I don't know what, 50, 60, 70 billion dollars. Who knows? An unbelievable amount. That's like an entire fucking shipping container times 5. And they go, I have no idea how 5 fucking full shipping containers of cocaine, how they got on my boat. I have no idea. And then later on, oh, you mean that same cartel? You mean they were banking with us? Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that. They were doing it under a shell company and we didn't research. Oh, don't worry. It's okay. Don't worry about the drugs. Don't worry about the money laundering. Don't worry about them having it. We'll just charge you a little bit. Move on. Like I said, imagine if you did this. You're going to jail for for life. Never having a chance to see outdoors or outside again. But yet these guys, like I said, it's unbelievable what they get away with. This shit is fucking a joke. Now we have to talk the tariff war because this is going to get insane. And there's a lot of ways you guys can make money. There's going to be waves, guys. There's going to be hard ups, hard downs. Hard ups and hard downs, especially over these next couple weeks. The negotiations are not looking good anywhere. Trump doesn't give a shit if it's allies. Trump's on a mission, man. It doesn't sound like he's backing down. These guys are sending him offers, and if all he's doing, all right, I'm not going to do your offer. What I'm going to do is just tariff you 16 times harder and make up the percent that I want to do. So if I wanted to give you 20% tariffs and you're going to raise it to 35, well, then I'll raise mine to 55. He goes to Europe. They're talking about raising it to 25. He's going to come back next week and say, all right, well, we're going to do 45. So it's going to get insanely volatile over these next couple weeks. Now, with all of this, as you saw today, I want you guys to watch because today was these guys are panicking and they're to the point where they need to make fake news and put that out to try and save the economy. Dude, and then they're shutting down brokers, they're shutting down firms. This was the equivalent today was the equivalent of the buy button shut off. Not towards us, but to save the market. Not everyone's no, obviously I don't mean we would have won, but in the same terms that GameStop, AMC would have took the entire market down. The entire market should have went down. But what happened? What is happening? Because a lot of people don't understand these tariffs and why this is destroying stock markets. Because you guys got to think about it this way. Let's say he tariffs every single goods coming out of Europe. That's 25% of our total imports. That affects a lot of sectors. That affects an insane amount of sectors. Now, who are the biggest people that have out of country work? Oh, the monopolies that are in the United States that control everything. All the big companies. So that's going to affect all the big companies. All of them. All of them are outsourcing. So now they're going to upcharge the crap out of everything. And that means all of their revenue and all of this is question mark. It's all a guessing game. Are they going to destroy themselves because they're going to price themselves out of the market? What's going to happen? Are all these shops going to come back and then they're going to be lower than us and now they're going to be the one to go to? It leaves too many question marks, too many unanswered things, too many areas you're affecting at once. And that's why the whole thing, nobody knows what's happening. SP, up, down, up, down. Today, I want you guys to understand what happened. $7 trillion worth of $7 trillion left the market in a matter of 2 hours. And it came, $5 trillion came right back off of one news article and some other things that happened, which I'll show you in a second. They cheated. We cheated. The United States cheated. Well, of course we did. Because we're trying to show, I'm going to show you how powerful how powerful our hand is in this game. And this is why Trump's not backing down. He understands that. So what happens is $7 trillion goes down. The market bloody red this morning.
And out of nowhere, an article comes out on Fox News, CNBC. Donald Trump says he's going to pause the tariffs everywhere for 90 days for negotiations. Well, all of a sudden that comes out in the stock market. Look at this. So that fake news comes out, and within a matter of 20 minutes from that news coming out, $4 trillion entered the stock market. So everything's looking, circuit breakers are about to pop off. Everything's looking bloody as hell. And out of nowhere, Fox comes out and says, hey, Trump's pausing it for 90 days. $4 trillion comes flooding back in 20 minutes, and the market's saved. Everything's okay. Now, the White House comes out right after. That's fake news. And all of a sudden, now it's back to a little wishy-washy. You know, if you look over here, where are we at? Hold on. Where is it? Here. Let's see what it ended at. What it's looking like now. So the market's, you know, it's pretty fucking red still. The market's pretty red still. But what's not red, where all that money went back into, where all that $4 trillion flooded back into, is where all their collateral was. The blue chip stocks. Now, this is why I'm saying, like, when you see these blood red days, these prices are dropping, these blue chips, they're going to keep getting back into them. There's tons of money making opportunities on those. Tons of them. They need those. Like I told you guys before, they're all still standing on that Mag 7. If that Mag 7 collapses, they're all fucked. And a lot of people are like, well, they got margin called. Yeah, but here's the thing people don't get about a margin call. If you get a margin call, it's not like you like, hey, we margin called you. You have 5 seconds to respond and fix it. They give you a little bit of time to fix it. So when all these people got margin called and shit went left and right and suddenly $4 trillion went right back, it had to fix itself in a sense. So this is a lot of the problem. And a lot of these guys, as we showed you before in the back end, until these banks are at this certain point, they're letting these margin calls go. They're letting a lot of these margin calls, they're like, all right, well, you know, we'll figure something out in a second. And then if they can't figure it out, that's when it's going to start to get interesting. But right now, apparently a fake news article comes out, and that's how it shows you how crazy this market is and volatile and just how fake this shit is. Now, what ended up happening is the market went crazy. It went bloody as hell. And then this happens. Just like shutting off the buy button. Multiple stock trading firms are reporting data and some trading outages. This is affecting pricing and everything on multiple exchanges. Okay? So now pricing's all messed up. Buy buttons are shut off everywhere. People that want to sell off can't. So it should have kept getting bloodier and bloodier, and all these people suddenly couldn't sell off. Outages. Nope. We got to contain it. The only way to contain it at this point now is to slow the brokerages, slow the orders. We got to slow the orders until we can get this money back or we can do something right away. So what you do is you get all these multiple exchanges to shut down, mess up pricing areas, and now you're basically off exchanging. All the remaining sell orders, the remaining stuff are now going off exchange. Now you can control it. You start to do some buying, doing this. You wait for this money to come back in like it did within 20 minutes to flood back now that you've contained it. And there you go. You're back to right where you were a little bit. Obviously, they're not right where they were. I showed you the chart. But you're to the point of containment again for a day. That's the thing. It's for a day. It's going to get worse. It's going to get way worse over the course of this week. So they shut off multiple exchanges, shut off brokerages. Why? Because hedge funds are hit by a layman-style margin call as Trump's 10% global tariffs kick in. So these guys got margin called on Friday. It was blood red. Like, these guys got margin called on Friday. They probably had about 48 hours, 24 hours to get it ready. This morning was bloody as hell, and they realized, all right, this is the bomb. We were all waiting for like I said, we're all waiting for a black swan event, and it turned out to be an orange swan. His name was Donald Trump and his tariff war, and it's going to get worse. This might be the bomb that no one saw coming because no negotiations are like what they're throwing at us is like positive stuff. And he's sitting there going at him like, fuck you. I'm not here to negotiate. Like it's crazy what's going on. So China said that they're going to come out. Trump's going around. He's putting all these tariffs on. And now China said they're going to hit us back, and they're going to hit us with 34% tariffs. And now you're getting to the point where these prices are so astronomical. All of these companies are going to be priced out. None of you guys are going to be able to afford anything. Revenues across the board are going to plummet. And that's why the market's also plummeting with it. So Trump goes, if you guys go ahead and hit us with a 34%, I'm going to raise mine an additional 50%. And then right after he says this, crap, hold on, this is what this was. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I had it on my thing. Hold on. Where was it? Here you go. So then, right after he talks about popping him off with a 50 more percent, he comes out and says, all talks with China concerning requested meetings and anything are denied going forward. He's basically like, nope, I'm not even going to talk to them anymore. Fuck them. I'm just going to tell them if they do this every time, I'm just going to raise it this. And it's going to get to this point where it's like, all right, who's going to back down first? He's not even coming to the table. Trump says, I'm not even going to sit down at the table. I'm not even going to consider sitting down at the table. So now, what's going to happen there? Like, so this is what you guys got to understand, and this is what Trump's looking at. We're the biggest importer for all these people. All we do is spend. Americans spend more than everything. They need us. They need our money. They need it bad. On top of that, with the tariff war, one thing Trump has that no one else in the world can do is this. Before I keep going, hold on. Where is it? One thing he can do is this. He can sit there and say, I'm going to tariff you, I'm going to tariff you, I'm going to tariff you. And he can bitch slap every one of their markets, destroy them overnight. Look what he did. Look at their markets. Minus 8%, minus 13.2, minus 8%, minus 10%, minus 5, minus 5, 1.5, 1, 3, 4, 5.5. All their markets are down. And they're going to go down again tomorrow because he's going to say, I'm going to give you guys even more tariffs, which means all of their markets are going to go down even more. And what does that matter? Who holds stocks? Rich people. He's fucking all of their country's rich people up, who are all of their donors for all of their political people. So now he's pissing off all of their other countries' donors. So they're all going to these guys saying, you better fix this or I'll get another guy in here who can. That's an ability Trump has none of these other guys have on us. And it scares the shit out of all of them. Because again, he can sit there himself and destroy other people's markets. This is now a trade war. He's not even going to war. But the scary thing is, he's going to this trade war with even our allies, European allies. He doesn't give a fuck. The whole world. 190. And then a lot of people are getting mad. We'll break some more of this down. But like I said, he can't agree to these terms. He can't agree to the negotiation. That's what people don't understand. The treasurer came out today. The Secretary of Treasury came out today and basically said that the way he's talking, he can't do that because he wanted to do this and bring production back to America. If he goes ahead and agrees to all these terms, like today, okay, so look, here's my point. So look at this case. So you have Europe come up today, okay? And Europe says to Trump, let's just do a 0 for 0 for everybody. Everybody wins. You're not going to pay a tariff. We won't pay a tariff. No one does. We'll just call it a day. Everyone gets cost and shipping. Perfect. Pretty much told him to fuck himself. So now, what that means, they come back, and this is why this is going to get worse. So he goes, pretty much, no, he's not even acknowledging that. So now they come up and say, all right, well, now we're going to have to do a 25% counter tariff to you because it doesn't even sound like you want to even talk to us. And Trump's like, great. Tomorrow, what Trump is going to do is come out to say, I'm going to hit you with the bigger one then. And that's what I'm saying. It's going to get to this point with China and Europe. How high is this percent going to get to? What percentage is everybody's max? And in the meantime, I don't think Trump gives a fuck about the stock market. He's out here selling $5 million gold fucking Trump cards. He's out doing his crypto shit. He'll be fine. You know what I mean? If he can take down all these rich people that have been screwing with his company on top of this, I don't think he gives a shit. They've been screwing with him for the last how many years? It's not his concern. Told the guy today, the Israel guy, I read from Wales. The dude came out for a meeting and he told him to turn the fuck around. He's not even going to meet with them. This is showing me negotiations are not really an option right now for Trump. He's pretty much saying, you're going to accept it or not. And that's how we're going to make all of this up. And at the same time, Trump came out yesterday and said, we're on pace to get rid of income tax by the end of 2025. And the only way that we're able to do that, make any of this up, is he's going to have to make up all of this. And he's going to have to get these deficits. And he's going to have to make other people pay for that then. That's got to be his plan. Otherwise, the only other way you make it up is you bring all of this stuff, all of these corporations back to the country again. Get more production, get more stuff that way. Going to get it from the corporations, which is going to hurt small business owners, of course, and big guys aren't going to give a shit, but that's how it should fucking be. It should be these corporations that are paying people crappy wages while every single CEO, every single time is what? Oh man, I made $30 million. The next year I only made $24 million. So what I ended up doing is I fired like $16 million worth of people's jobs. And then I put that towards my bonus. So then I made $40 million. So I still made a better year. Oh, good for you, douche. You can't live off the $22 million bonus you made last year for the rest of your life. You have to, every year, that's the problem. Every year, these corporations, they have to break records. Because if they don't break records, what happens? Shareholders get pissed. Well, what else happens? You have inflated stock markets to prices on all of these companies that are unfathomable. To the point where you have people like NVIDIA cooking the books, like I've showed you forever. They're round-tripping. SEMI, the SEMI in their 10K admitted to the world. We fake our numbers and anyone has access. Anyone has access to our financial records and anyone can change it at any time. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I've had this cold for a couple of days here now. So now you have SEMI admitting, yeah, our shit's pretty much fraudulent. And even with that happening, the SEC's like, no, it's no problem. We're going to go ahead and accept it. Of course you will. Because crime doesn't affect anyone in America anymore. No one gives a shit. They'll just take their penalty right down, they'll take their penalty a little bit down the road and call it a day. Which is just a bribe. Which I've shown you before now from the Supreme Court made bribery legal as long as you bribe the politician after he does the favor. Because then you can consider it a gift. Dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But back to this. So now, like I said, it's going to get crazy because if they announce a 25% counter, guess what's going to happen tomorrow? Again, Trump's going to go to about 50, 60% counter to that. Over what? If you looked at the tariff from Europe, it was at 2.2%. It went up to 2.7%. Went up to 2.7% when Trump took office. 0.5%. Is a 0.5% worth destroying your relationship with one of your biggest allies? Well, according to him, it is. So, again, I feel like at this point, he's going to do what he wants to do and he sees necessary. I don't feel like Trump's really going to listen to anybody. His plan was to either get these tariffs in to pay for it or get the jobs back to pay for it. But he's trying to keep his promise, it looks like, I don't think he's going to get it done by 2025. Let's be real. That's an insane change. But if he's truly on course, keeps talking about it, and that's still his true goal is to get income taxes out. And I know a lot of you would be like, well, income taxes, why would he want to do that? It would help the rich out immensely too. Think of how much they pay in. the ones that do actually take some of these checks. So a lot of his buddies still would make money. They would make money. You would make money. And then that means more money for us to also go ahead and spend up at his buddies' shops because we don't have it. And his buddies are getting a little broke. They can only afford 1 new yacht a year instead of 4, you know? But as you guys can see, China, here it is. China and Europe actually account for 25% of our imports. That's a lot for them. That's a lot of money coming in for them. So again, everybody's going to need everybody here. It's going to get really interesting to see what ends up happening. I honestly can't tell you what's going to happen with this tariff war. But what I can tell you is you're going to have volatility like crazy. There's going to be an insane amount of buying opportunities. You know the blue chips, you know the ones, you know the things that they're going to do, you know where they're going to go. You know right where they're going to go. I'm not going to tell you financial advice. If you've been watching this, you know exactly where I'm talking about. You know where to play it as it's dropping. Today, as my point, I saw something on the graph. We were watching the charts today, and if you watched my Twitter today, I gave you guys a clue. I posted charts, and I said, this is going to be a great buying opportunity. You should think about buying. The next thing you notice, the entire charts exploded. It was literally 2.5, 4 minutes after. I'm way too far. Way too far. But, you know, I'm like, guys, this is going to be some good stuff. If there's always buying opportunities, watch for it now. Here you go. All right, let's just set it down here. Whatever. I'll find it. Where the fuck is it? Oh, I'm under replies. So whatever. Either way, right after I posted it, 4 minutes later, everything jumped back up and recovered. You can still see it. So there's still plenty of ways to watch this if you're watching the charts. But like I said, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to buy those blue chip type things on these drop downs. Whether you want to play them on options, get stock, but this is how they get that wealth back. After these drop downs, after they get people, they crush them. You know, all these people bought on this. It'll go back up. It'll drop back down. You'll have the normal guy sell off at a loss, and that's all they're doing. Same shit. But what you're going to be doing is riding the waves. This is what I've been telling my Discord. Just ride the waves, boys. Look at the waves, ride it. Watch the tariff news. Watch what he says. Watch the tone. If he's not even meeting with people at this point, you're gonna go down. You're going to have a lot of sell-offs over this next week. You're going to have bounce backs. But like I said, watch. They're going to let it drop. They're going to let these guys reposition. You're going to keep having circuit breakers. Over this next week, what you're going to have is this over and over. Multiple trading stock forms are reporting data, losses, outages. Multiple stock exchanges are down, no longer accepting price action because it's the only way they're going to be able to slow it down. And what he wants to do is he's going to want to slow down the United States stock markets and keep crashing these at a higher pace and a higher pace and a higher pace until they back down. Because again, he's got them on both ends. We're their number one buyer. So you need our money. And if he brings production back to the United States, the more he brings back, that's the less of your production he needs. And that's what he's trying to get to. He's trying to basically give us all the upper hand in every single way. What, is it going to work? I have no idea. Are these guys going to back down? I don't know. But it's going to be crazy. But like I said, I don't give a shit about the stock market. If you've been listening to me forever on this stuff, this is number one. This is the type of thing. If you're at AMC and GME, this is the number one thing I said you guys need for a cover. If you guys want them to start covering, if you guys want a MOAS, if you want to squeeze, you need their collateral to stop pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. They're opening up more positions because their positions have been pumping for the last 5 fucking years nonstop. It just keeps going up and up and up and up. Well, eventually, people are going to have to come to realize this has been propped up by fake money for how long? $7 trillion left the stock market. Think about that. What? $7 trillion left the stock market in 2 minutes. It took the United States how many years worth to get to the $7 trillion cap in the United States stock market?
like I said, the amount of insanity, dude, that is going. Well, that's the thing. It's always going to keep coming back to your middle class, but that's the problem. The United States has always been built on the middle class and that capitalism, all this stuff. But here's the problem. Eventually, you're going to just get communism. You're going to end up getting to a point where it's the rich and poor. No middle class. You'll have slavery through debt, and you'll have the people, you'll have the debtors, and you'll have the lenders. And listen to this, because I want you guys... I don't normally show you guys like clips of people talking, but like this is an important thing. This is the United States Secretary of Treasury. Listen to what he says here, and this is why I'm going to bring up 401ks and all this stuff here in a second after you listen to this clip. But listen about 40 seconds of this. Oh, give me 1 second. I gotta switch my sound here. Apologize. What the hell? Hold on, 2 seconds.
The distribution of equities across households, the top 10% of Americans own 88% of equities, 88% of the stock market. The next 40% owns 12% of the stock market. The bottom 50 has debt. They have credit card bills. They rent their homes. They have auto loans, and we've got to give them some relief. That I was struck by the statistic from last year.
That's the message right there. Just as a bystander, I'm like, wow, okay.
All right. Or that, I like the examples, and I was really struck by two different statistics last year. Summer of 2024, Americans took more European vacations than they had in history. Summer of 2024, more Americans were using food banks than they ever have in history.
Now, in this thing, he goes on to talk about the food banks, and what he talks about is how food banks they're exploding, and it's not even your average. It's not homeless people. It's your average mom and dad that they need to go to a food bank because their $100, $200 a week on groceries no longer gets them through that last 2 or 3 days. They need to go to the food bank to get those extra those extra $50, $60 items in a store to get them through the next 1 or 2 days. On top of that, like I said, prices everywhere in other countries are now getting to the levels of over here. It's just insanity to where people are going out there. They're realizing, hey, I can go take a vacation and spend less, do this over here. People are getting medical treatment way more out of the state, out of the country. It's to the point where, like I said, everyone, they sit there and in the media and all this stuff, they teach you, oh my God, if the stock market crashes, it's the end of the fucking world. No, if the stock market crashes, this is what happens. 2 days ago, or last week on Friday, on Thursday, just Thursday and Friday alone, the world's 500 richest people lost $536 billion. This morning, that number hit over $1 trillion plus. That's who gets hurt. Exactly like he said. They own 88% of stocks. Now, people with 401k, yes, of course I feel bad for them. Of course they're going to get hurt. Somebody always gets hurt in middle class, and I've warned a lot of people, and I showed people how to get away from being hurt. You okay? Do you want help? Okay. Yeah, you do. I'll talk to you about. So either some of these 401ks, a lot of them individually will let you pick, and some of them will let you pick firms that work in different indexes and work in different areas, and some of them you can kind of work in areas that, all right, if a market crashes, you have low risk over here, more over here. There's things you can do with these 401ks, but that's the thing. Most people, when they talk about their 401k and they get their packet, what do? They don't even want to listen. They don't want to deal with it. There's things you can do with 401ks. On top of that, 33% of Americans have a 401k in the working class. 33%. 66.6% of people do not have of 401k. 50% of that is not even in the stock market at all. So what they sit there and they tell you is, oh, all your average Joe Schmoes are going to get crushed and destroyed. And yes, a lot of them are going to get hurt. But the only reason they care is because they're losing trillions and trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. This is the only reason why they sit there and say to the whole world, if the stock market goes down, no, what happens is the rich pieces of shit and all these people that are betting that are rich that shouldn't be because what they've been doing is illegal. No, they get fucked. I don't give a shit about them. Your average guy is not even in the stock market. They don't even care. They don't care. They're going to see the stock market's going to crash and not a single one of them is going to come to their mind like, hey, this is a good buying opportunity. I should go buy now that this thing's been bleeding out for 3 weeks, 2 weeks straight. Up and down, but it's gone down 4 straight days. Great day, great time to get in. They don't even look at that because they don't want any of you guys looking at any of this shit. The average person doesn't know a single thing about the stock market. And that's the problem. And on top of that, these guys, like I said, they own all the media. So they're going to only let people know what they want you to know. Inside of schools, they prop their agendas in there. They teach you what they want you to teach. The same stuff. 401ks. A lot of people that have been watching my channel forever, guess where they've gone into? Gold, silver, land, and over those 4 years have done nothing but go up, 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 up. And a lot of people that, I'm like, guys, there's no reason to have a bank account. All those people that listened to me over these last couple of years took their stuff out, got rid of their account, and just bought physical gold coins. It's up $1,400 since I've talked about it. The amount of money you've made compared to the amount of interest you would have made, even going into, you would have made more if you just S&P'd the last 4 years, of course, but everyone probably should have just S&P'd the last 4 years. But again, it was a great, safe, super safe way, and you made a killing. You've made a killing. Gold, and here's the problem. We'll get into it in a little bit. Gold is never going to have this crash. It's going to have a crash where banks are going to sell it. It'll drop like $200, $300, $400 at the most, and then it'll recover. Because no matter what, fiats are so fucked up. We're going to get into that in a second here, but it's so screwed up. So yes, I do feel bad for the people that have 401ks that haven't, a lot of these people, you guys have had a 401k, you set it up 4 years ago and you've learned so much more in the market. How many of you revisited how your 401k is even set up or even know? How many of you know if you can choose a firm? Do you know if you can choose your own stocks? Some allow you to choose individual stocks. Some allow you to choose firms. You might have a list of 12. Otherwise, they just default to like BlackRock or Vanguard. And guess where they're going to go? So there's a lot of things, like I said, you can still protect yourself in 401ks. You can still set your risk factors. There's a lot of things that you can do. Not in all of them. Some are set and some you're just, hey, your company's like, hey, we use this. If you want us to match, you use this. And those people are stuck. They are. But hopefully they, protected themselves in other ways, bought gold, bought other things that will also rise in value, gotten the right things and are, getting treasury bonds, 4 or 5%. These things, this is where you get, your money safer. The government's not going to default on their debt. Not that I can see anytime soon, but like I said, this is what Trump's doing. He's destroying other people's stock markets. He's destroying all their rich donors, and now they're going to either have to back down. This is why I don't think Trump's going to back down in any of this. But I think these next 2 weeks are going to be insanely bloody. You're going to have down days, and then you're going to have a day where it'll kind of recover a lot. But over the course of the next 2 weeks, I feel like you're going to have a pretty red stance. And here's the thing: if these countries give in to his original demands, that's also going to greatly affect the market going forward to where values will stay lower longer. So I don't know where it goes from here at this point, other than down, because you're just going to have this negotiation war left and right, and you're going to have ups and downs. And this is why I say to people, and in my Discord,
over these next 2 weeks. I don't know how to say it without being financial advice. It's not financial advice. This is not financial advice. Do whatever you want. But what I'm going to do, let me just say it that way. What I'm personally going to do is I'm going to be getting weekly contracts, daily contracts type thing. I'm going to play volatility up and down, and that's it. And I'm just going to try and ride it up and down, get really short contracts. You'll have lower premium, get it 50 cents up or above if you want to do a call. If you want to write it down, 50 cent put, below. Ask is usually what I like to do. Get it day out, week out, ride it up and down. That's the best way to play this right now. And in the meantime, what I'm going to be making off this, I'm going to be putting into blue chip stocks, why they're going to be lower and lower. And that's how I'm going to try and play it the next 2.5 weeks. And those I'm going to try and get stock in. I know my Discord, we love options. We're options traders. That's what we are at this point. It's okay, though, to still get stock in companies that are good companies that will have good rebounds. All of a sudden, they come back $20, $30 a stock, a share. I mean, that's still good value. That's good money. So, again, that is what I'm going to be doing. But you guys can see, like I said, it's going to get insane. And if you guys look over here, Poland Stock Exchange said on Monday it has suspended trading on all markets from 1315 GME to 1450 GMT due to security of trading. All of these other countries are now realizing Trump can single-handedly destroy my entire stock market. Again, he's got a lot of upper hands in this, guys. A little man's getting pissed. What this is doing is forcing the Federal Reserve to have a closed board meeting, and they're going to have to drop interest rates. It's the only thing they're going to do. Trump's going to force their hand to drop interest rates. Is that going to help save the market? I don't know. I doubt it. If these trade wars go on long enough, if these percentages get higher, they're not going to be able to drop it enough to save anything. Meanwhile, the world debt has now officially crossed 300 trillion, and it's still climbing, and it's climbing at an alarming rate. As of April 7th, 2025, the United States debt is at $36 trillion. And this is what I want people to listen to, because this is the other thing they lie to you guys about. U.S. debt is at $36 trillion, okay? Of that $36 trillion, $29 trillion is held by the public. Now, I want you to understand, listen, this is very important to understand. 36 trillion is out there, 29 trillion is held by the public. Their definition of held by the public is corporations and you. So in other words, all the United States, the reason they cater to these corporations so much is all this debt is bought by the corporations who also pay these government officials back in dark money. So they're the ones funding all of the United States debt. They're holding all the United States debt and all the cards. And on top of that, only $7 trillion worth is held by other countries in the entire world, and they're selling it rapidly. And the people buying it are the corporations, because the government's saying, if you buy this debt that we need somebody to buy, we'll give you more tax breaks. This is what's been happening. Everybody asks, why is it if Democrats are in there? Why is it if Republicans are in there? They always give the rich tax breaks. Because the rich people say to them, we'll buy your debt so you guys can keep spending. And in return, you give me tax breaks. This is how it works. Now, the reason they're not caring, listen, this is also insanely important to understand. The reason the government does not want to pay this money back is because the people that are making money off the debt are the corporations themselves, which hold it all, and are paying the government officials all their dark money salary. So they have no incentive to pay it back, because the criminals make more money. And then they make more money in return too. But what does that do? It brings you guys inflation, and it makes your guys' life harder. So they don't care. The way we fix the economy is we just eliminate the debt. We're paying $1.2 trillion. Here you go. We're now paying over $1 trillion annually just to service that debt. We're now paying out $1.049 trillion. That's supposed to jump to $1.3 trillion. So listen to me. I want you to understand this as well. So when Elon says we're saving billions of dollars, I don't give a shit. Until you save $300 billion, you're not even going to make up what you're now going to pay in interest, because you're in these treasury bonds are set to renew, and they're currently at like 2%, and they're going to all jump up to 4.5%. So that means the government's going to be dishing out an additional $200 billion in treasury notes. 300, sorry. So until Elon can, by the end of next year, until he can save that, he's already 300 billion extra behind, just because of the debt, just because of the interest attached to it. And they want to add more debt. They want another $5 trillion to add to the debt. So again, they have no incentive to fix the debt payment, because a lot of these companies are the ones that are holding all of this money, or all of their debt. But what they tell you in school, and the way they make it sound, is all these other countries buy up our debt from us. No, it's not other countries. It's fucking corporations. It's corporations. And we're paying corporations $1 trillion annually. So why would the corporations want you to fix that? They don't. So anyone that would fix it, they make sure doesn't get into office. Meanwhile, if you look here, world governments are indeed facing the highest debt crisis cost since 2007. Interest payments now, as a share of GDP, outstrip spending on defense and safety services. I don't want to do the paywall, so I just looked at it that way. But again, they're acting like this isn't any problem when these fiat currencies are all on the brink of collapse. And that's why I say gold is the way, is a safe place. Yes, it will crash because the banks will need to sell off gold. They'll need to sell off silver, but here's the thing. They're also short gold and silver, so while they can't sell off too much. It's a gong show. All of these banks have leased out the same bar of gold to 25 people, and all these 25 idiots think they own it. What happens if 20 of them recall that gold at once? You saw that with the Swiss National Bank last month. They had to shut down gold. They told people they couldn't get it to them for a month and a half because 20 people wanted the same gold bar, because all of these people are criminals. You can only do this shit for so long. You can only repackage things so many times in bad debt and new terms and new loans and new tranches before people don't even have enough to buy those. And that's where you're starting to get to. Now, I want you guys to see just how fucked up and how corrupt your stock market is. This is the consolidated audit trial. Now, I talked about this for years because this is going to expose them. Here's the problem. It's exposing them and no one gives a fuck. If you look right here, you guys can see over a course of 5 days, 5 days, you had 21 billion errors. Now, when they talk about errors in the consolidated audit trail, they're talking about incorrect data, incorrect reported data, cheating, lying, manipulation. You had 21 billion trades. Trades, guys. That could mean orders. That could mean multiple orders. That doesn't mean shares. If I have 21 billion trades, you could be talking about trillions in shares. Hundreds of billions in shares were marked as incorrect. Overall error count, you had 21 billion in 5 days, in 1 week. All right, little man's get pissed. But I do want to show you this. But like I said, the last thing I want to go over is you're having more and more of these credit card loans, auto loans, home loans, all defaulting. Well, it turns out, you know what they're doing? They're packaging auto loans, credit card loans, and home loans into a new tranche that are all defaulting. And they're selling those loans now. And they're selling them to pension funds. They're selling your retirement debt that is defaulting on all three sectors now and patching it together. So again, Be safe with your retirement. Be aware. Aware of what your 401k is doing. I mean, if you got matching and you can have high amounts, I'm never going to tell you to get out of that. But just know, like, you know what I mean? Like, just know everything's pumped. Your numbers have looked great for years. It's been great too for years. But the second it's not, it's going to, all those years worth are going to be erased. So just be prepared. In other aspects, don't have your money in a bank. Showing you guys all these banks can collapse. Get out of these ISDA banks. Get in a credit union. It is imperative to get into a credit union. If you have any bank runs, the market's going to get even crazier. Like I said, all this is on a brink, and you can easily hit a recession, depression at the instant, a blink of an eye at this point. So that's all I have to really go over right now. But I mean, does anyone have any questions before I get off? I'm gonna go help take care of little man. We'll check out the. But if anyone has any questions about anything, so I think it's more, say, a good idea to start putting more into 401ks now that the market is down. I mean, no, I mean it depends. Well, it depends. Like, it depends on what your 401k is going to invest in. You got to see what it's looking at. What indexes does it use? What is it doing? Is it looking for volatility? Do they write volatility indexes? Do they see? That's the thing. If you, a lot of these people can pick 401ks, and you can pick those firms. Some of those firms are volatility index firms. They'll make you money when it goes down. You know, they're going to make money on the volatility. They'll be okay. Is your firm a firm that highly? Is your 401k's firm one that, in the way that you guys are set up, are they highly invested in the S&P? Well, if they're highly invested in the S&P, you don't want to get into it now and put more money in as they're, hardcore buying it in, and as it crashes down. No, I wouldn't think that's a good idea. I'd wait. But like he's getting crabby. Any more questions at all? What stock should I do puts on right now? I mean, I can't tell you that, but there's plenty of. If you think an index is going to go down, if you think the market's going to go down, you can ride the S&P index up and down pretty well. You can have very volatile swings on that. So, plenty of other indexes. You can ride the VIX. You can do plenty of things on volatility. But yeah, physical gold to me is always going to be a great idea. Land is just going to get more valuable, and more valuable, and more valuable. It's harder and harder to find. Now you have data centers scooping up 16, 13 fucking acres to build one data center. It's ridiculous. Yeah, repo was behind. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think that they were giving out repos. They're doing a lot more reverse repos. They didn't really need emergency liquidity injected because a lot of these guys are just already been doing these sell-offs. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of margin calls going on right now, and a lot of these people are going to have to keep selling assets. A lot of these, now it's uncertainty. And here's the problem. Everything is becoming a risk. Everything. And that's what's scary to these, like Bitcoin, all of these things. They're all risk assets now. As long as the trade war is going on, everything is a risk asset. Everything. So they'll keep on selling these things. So again, you can definitely play these down. You can play these up. Pull up your charts. Look at your signs. You can see, you guys. Look at here. I mean, look at indicators. Look at your setups. Don't just, oh, this is going to go down. Pull up your trades. Look at your patterns. Still do TA. TA still definitely matters. Look at your indicators. Here's your S&P. It looks like it's oversold it like fucking crazy. You can see the MACD's crashing. Well, it looks like it's about to cap out on the MACD. You might have a small recovery tomorrow. You might play, a daily pop-up on it, and you might have a drop-off tomorrow. We'll see. I gotta look at more than let me look at the daily candles. Because I'm just playing daily and weekly. Broke the wedge, broke the channel. No, you're fine. You want me to come see me? Come see me. I'm just doing channels. You want a bottle?
You can everybody. You want to come sit there for a while?
Let's get kind of antsy burgers. Where'd he go?
Good. You getting hungry? I'm just doing questions right now. I'll be up in a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give him
No,
back.
you're fine. Or he's fine. He's just eating. You okay? Discord link, yeah. You're fine.
I'm gonna go smoke it.
Yeah, go smoke quick. I got him. I love you.
You were just hanging out. I was holding him basically the whole time looking out the window.
He's smashing this bottle. All right. Everyone, I just put the Discord link in the chat. If you want to join the Discord link, like I said, we're all in there to learn. Don't troll. You troll, you won't be in there very long. But yeah, man, like I said, we're all just in there to learn together. In the end of the day, I just want retail to win. I know people say, "Oh, I hate that," but I honestly do. I'm so sick of these pieces of shit. Look at these. It's just criminality. It's like I have a kid. Everyone that sits there and goes like, "Oh, why do you want retail to win?" Because I have a fucking child. Eventually, he's going to grow up in this world, and if it's trash because we've let politicians destroy it, he's 8 months old. What's it going to be like for him in 16 years, 17 years, 18 years? I've seen, if you look at these houses, I mean, literally, look at this. Click, this will blow your fucking mind. Go on Google, go to any type of housing thing, okay? Type in a house address and type in the price at 2019 or below, okay? And then look at the price to today. It will more than have doubled, or they will have at least added 150 to 250,000 in value, okay, to that price in a matter of 4 to 5 years, because of how fucked up this, because of how messed up these people are. When we printed for COVID, and instead of them using that money correctly, they gave it to the Federal Reserve, who used it in reverse repos, who lost that money in overnight index funds, who's now $235 billion in debt to the United States Treasury. Well, guess what? How are they going to make all this up? The Federal Reserve is losing money every single week. They lose $9 billion a week. They're operating at a loss of $9 billion a week. That is insanity. Oh, you want to buy over here? Sorry. That's insanity. The Federal Reserve is operating at a $9 billion loss a week. And people are, and people wonder why I'm saying get rid of that fucking thing. Get rid of them. They're trash. They're complete garbage. They need to go. They can't even balance their own book. They're hundreds of billions in debt. Hundreds of billions in debt. Don't believe me? Here you go. Oh, there you go. Here you go. Right now, currently, the Federal Reserve owes the Treasury $226 billion. The Federal Reserve owes the Treasury $226 billion. And they're at an operating loss of $9 billion a week. Because they have consistently bought the trash assets of banks that are failing and have defaulted. That is what they do. They bail out their shareholders. The shareholders of the Federal Reserve are the bank members. They all basically own each other. So they'll keep on bailing each other out, keep doing the federal bailout programs, all this crap. And the Federal Reserve themselves will end up getting to a point where they're like 400, 500 billion in debt. And what are they going to say? What are they going to do? Hey, buddy. Yeah. This country's just going to shit, boy. Daddy's trying to help fix it, you know? Otherwise, like I said, man, like, if you have a kid, what is your child going to grow up doing? I fear for us all, my friends. Just make sure you're safe this time. 2007, I'm telling you right now, if you thought 2007, 2008 was scary, wait till you see this one. Commercial real estate, you still have another 1.5 trillion in defaults coming this year. I don't know what they're going to do. But do you expect AMC and GME to squeeze if markets... I do. This is what I said I believe we needed to have before those go down. Because the firms that are squeezing it, the people, these banks that are letting all of these guys get away with all these margin calls, they're the ones that are short all this. So
eventually they're going to have to cover it. Even if those guys go under, well, guess what? The banks are going to absorb all those bad positions. And eventually, like I said, they sold off how many to Credit Suisse, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Credit Suisse is so screwed up, they sealed it away for 50 years. And it's still, and now it's going to destroy UBS. They just showed you UBS did an audit, and they failed their audit because they had to fake numbers by hundreds of billions because they literally lied about how much Credit Suisse's damage did. Because and now they're still looking at it, and it's more than they even initially reported. UBS, like I said, all of these banks, all these things, the problem is I told you, eventually these guys are going to eat each other. And what they've done is they've given each other debt in the back end that they're not going to be able to cover. And then banks have been suing banks because they're now realizing, I just showed you that one bank sued JP Morgan because they sold them a bad loan. So now you have banks suing banks sending more bad debt to all of each other. I mean, this is the end game, people. They're eating each other up. Make sure you got your money in good, safe positions. And if you want to play, like I said, you do whatever you want to do. I currently will be riding these waves up and down, and I expect it to have more downside than up over the next couple weeks. Watch your indicators. Watch your entry points. Like I said, you can, watch your indicators, watch your entries, watch your expectations. Look at entries. So a lot of things you can do and see where, like I said, this is looking pretty oversold, but you got to remember and you're about to have a bullish cross at this point. So I do expect the S&P to maybe go up a little bit tomorrow for a brief moment, but then I don't expect it to hold it. I think that's still a fake. No, he's fine. He hasn't done nothing. Setup's not looking good. You broke below the channel. You're now going to switch that to a descending. He's fine. But it's like with Bitcoin, right now. Check out Bitcoin. The thing, Bitcoin's now recovering, but that's oversold. That might, even the Williams percentage is low. You should have a recovery here. You'll have a brief recovery here on Bitcoin. I expect it to probably be about 80,000 tomorrow when we get up. But again, it might sell off right away after that. You know what I mean? You might have this brief recovery until he makes his announcement on his counter. Then you're going to have it. So, I expect a brief jump tomorrow in the morning and then just right back down. So, again, wait, be patient, do your thing. Don't be in a rush. But, yes, there's plenty of chances to make some cash going forward here. Who will you play in the Moaz movie? I got to have Dave Chappelle do it. Nah. I got to have Dave Chappelle do it, man. I use him as my logo. It'd be legendary. He wouldn't do that, though. There's no way. That'd be the coolest thing in the world, dude. But yeah, we'll see what happens here with Bitcoin. I think you'll have if you ever notice, it doesn't really have that sentiment too long. Below the threshold here. So, you're below 75. I expected to have a little recovery here. Yep, it should be a fun one, my friends. It should be a fun one. Let's check out GME. Let's check it out. Oh, boys. I'm jacked about GME, too. I'm, super jacked about GME here. Check out what that's looking like. It's okay, so your histogram. So here's the thing with this: your histogram's recovering. You're starting to get, it was negative. This is what I was talking about with your histogram here on the SPY. If you look here, you'll see it start to cap out, and once it hits that cap out meter, you'll get that quick recovery. So as you can see on the SPY for your MAC, here we go, and your histogram here, and your MACD and your sentiment. That's looking like it's going to be capping out here at this point. You're now into your sentiment. You're almost capping, almost bottom out here. So, I know indicators lag, but pattern-wise, you're in a descending shoulder. You're still in that ascension on that head and shoulder. So, you're about to break out of that wedge, though. So, I feel like at this point, you'll have a little small recovery on your SPY.
I'll go back to my baby. He's getting out of control here. Anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna probably head out here. Anyone have any questions at all? Discord again, once again, guys. Discord's in the link, chat there. All right, I don't see any more questions. Thank you, guys. I will be live here, but yeah, definitely enjoy the show here these next 2 weeks here. It's gonna get very interesting. And again, if you see these blue chips crush, don't be afraid to buy some shares, you know. Definitely, they'll have their recovery, because here's the thing you got to remember. Either the deals are going to take place or Trump's going to get his way. And when he does, you'll have that recovery back into expansion. So again, watch volatility, watch your entry points. You don't have to hit the bottom every time, guys. Watch your entry points. Like I said, you can see them on, you know, set your indicators, look at your percentiles, watch your drop points. Oh, sorry, but you're okay. Look at your retracement levels. I mean, you know what you guys are doing. You guys know what you're doing. Is Billy doing okay now, though? I think Billy's going to be doing a lot better. And obviously, like I said, with that Minecraft movie killing it like that, oh, man. This Minecraft movie is crushing it, dude. We had 163 million. I still expect it to honestly do another 100 million next weekend. I think we might have a lot better of a Q2 than I ever expected. And if that's the case, because Q1 was trash. Guys, let's be honest. Q1 for was fucking trash. It was awful. And I told you guys Q1 this year would be garbage. And I mean, I honestly didn't expect it to be that bad. It was way worse than even I thought. I don't even think we broke 1.5. It was bad. So we're definitely going to have a loss. And that's what I'm saying, guys. We need to give him that ability to raise capital. I know you don't want to, but we should learn after the first time we've said no, and he had to come up with 8. I know you don't want to, but it's got to be done. It is a necessity. As long as your company's up and operational, even if your stock looks like it's down and out, it's not. As long as those doors are open, your play's going. Also, that gold mine, I'm telling you guys, that might be a sleeping dragon here in a year. If they can get it to where they're mining some stuff, and with the way the economy and the world's looking up and shaping up, and the price of gold and the price of silver, and what I think the price of gold and silver is going to be in the next couple months, if that thing can get to where it needs to be, that mine can get going on some actual mining here, that might be a little sleeping dragon. He said 6 to 7 years when he got it, and that's looking like where it's going to be at. Well, I use TradingView. I do TradingView for all my stuff. I got public indicators too. You can pop on and use my stuff too if you want. Go, buddy. All right, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go play a little bit. He's getting a little fidgety. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate y'all, and we'll talk.